You want to know what truly unsettles them when they look at you? It's not the words you speak. It's not the moments you choose silence. It's not even the size of what you're building in the invisible. It's the way you keep rising after every single thing designed to break you. The way you ignite and somehow remain whole through the flames. Every time they believe they've seen the last of you, you emerge from the ruins with different skin, eyes that see deeper, a presence that dissolves pretense. They have no strategy for someone who simply will not stay down. You scared them not because you were mistaken, but because you were limitless. Because your very presence, unfiltered and unapologetic, makes something in them recoil. Watch how brittle they become when they realize you cannot be tamed. Watch how diminished they feel standing next to someone who hasn't forgotten their own name. You've been penalized for your difference, ridiculed for feeling too much, thinking too deeply, seeing too clearly. What a tragedy it is to be punished for accessing what others have chosen to numb. They named your gentleness fragility, your depth a flaw. But liquid steel doesn't ask permission to be molten before it becomes unbreakable. You were never weak. You were the material destiny selected to forge into something sharp, and yet you compromised. You dimmed yourself. You whispered when you were meant to roar, hoping they wouldn't flinch. You softened every edge until you were bleeding from the inside. But you were never designed for careless hands. You were designed to be held by your own fire. You carry something ancient within you, something that existed before recognition, before validation. There's a frequency in your chest that won't go silent. That frequency isn't ego. It's purpose knocking from the inside. They feel it too. That vibration living in you, and it shakes something loose in them. It reminds them of the voice they chose to smother in themselves years ago. So they distort it. They take what's true in you and rename it delusion, rename it arrogance, rename it anything that lets them sleep at night. Because if they admitted you were right, they'd have to confront how small they've made themselves. They're energy thieves, feeding on doubt, surviving on the secondhand glow of people who forgot they were suns. They're waiting for the moment you question yourself so they can feast on the opening. Don't give it to them. You don't owe them a single word of explanation. You exist on a different plane, and somewhere underneath all their noise, they already know it. But here's what changes everything. Their fear isn't something you need to carry. It's your confirmation. Every time they pull back, every time they gossip in corners, it means you've activated something in the field they can't access. What looks like opposition is actually preparation. It's the universe stress testing you, making certain you're ready for the magnitude of what's approaching. You weren't born to disappear into the crowd. You weren't born to be safe and forgettable. You're not one more ripple in the pond. You're the stone that shatters the surface. What makes you different is holy. It's the proof that creation is still wild, still willing to break its own patterns. You don't need to earn your extraordinariness. It's already woven into your design. The world simply hasn't caught up to the language of you yet. For so long you've tried to fit. For so long you carried the weight of pretending your light was dimmer than it is. But you're a star that hasn't forgotten the pressure that made it. A sword that remembers being beaten into form. A phoenix that remembers the choking smoke before the wings ignited again. And right now, in this exact moment, something is shifting. You can feel it. The pulse in your throat. The heat spreading through your center. The sudden crystalline knowing of who doesn't belong in the next chapter. This isn't about gradual improvement anymore. This is metamorphosis. Ruthless, radiant, unstoppable. So release the need to justify yourself. You weren't created to be decoded by people who fear depth. You were created to be seen by those who recognize what's real. Let them whisper. Let them misread you entirely. Their confusion has no effect on your blueprint. What you see isn't fantasy, it's recognition. You're constructing the foundation the future will require. Move in silence. Move with certainty. Someday they'll call it fate, as though reality bent itself around you without your involvement. But you'll understand you were always the center point. You were always the axis everything turned on. Here's the deepest truth. You were never meant to answer what they were asking. You were the question the cosmos posed to itself when it wanted to remember what unconditional presence feels like in human form. And that's not something they can take from you. That's not something that fades when they look away. That's permanent. That's encoded. So take a moment right now and comment below with this exact phrase. I remember who I am. Not as a casual interaction, as an energetic declaration, a signal sent directly into the field that you're no longer available for the old story. This is a conscious interruption in the loop. Let that ripple out. Because here's what most people miss. When you speak your truth into the world, even in something as simple as a comment, you're collapsing probability. You're choosing a timeline. The field responds to clarity. And every time you declare your knowing, you make it harder for the illusion to hold. So go ahead. Write it. I remember who I am. Let that be your stake in the ground. Now let's go deeper. Because irreplaceability isn't just about being different. It's about understanding the quantum mechanics of your existence. You are not a random assembly of traits and experiences. You are a specific frequency that has never existed before and will never exist again. Think about that. In all of time, in all of space, in every possible configuration of matter and energy, there has never been and will never be another you. Not a similar you. Not a close approximation, you, exactly as you are. This isn't motivation. This is physics. The universe doesn't duplicate. It innovates. Every single expression of consciousness is a unique experiment in what's possible. You're not here to repeat what's already been done. You're here to reveal what's never been seen. And that's why they can't replace you. It's not about skill. It's not about talent. It's about the unrepeatable nature of your specific consciousness intersecting with this specific moment in time. When you start to really feel that, when you let that land in your body, not just your mind, everything shifts. Because you stop trying to be valuable and you start recognizing you already are. You stop performing and you start being. And that's when your real power activates. Not the power that comes from effort, the power that comes from alignment. From remembering you're not here to prove anything. You're here to express something that only you can express. And this is where it gets interesting. Because the moment you step into that knowing, the moment you stop apologizing for taking up space, the whole game changes. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People who were deaf to you suddenly hear. Doors that were locked suddenly open. Not because you changed your strategy, because you changed your frequency. You stopped broadcasting, "Please accept me," and started broadcasting, "This is what I am." And the field reorganized itself around that truth. If this is landing for you, take a moment and hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected to this frequency. This is the part they don't teach you. Your irreplaceability isn't something you achieve. It's something you uncover. It's already there, buried under years of conditioning, under layers of other people's opinions, under the weight of trying to be someone you're not. And the path back to it isn't about adding more. It's about removing what's false. It's about remembering what was true before anyone told you who to be. But let's talk about what this actually means on the ground level. Because theory without application is just entertainment. And you're not here to be entertained. You're here to transform. So what does irreplaceability look like when you're standing in the grocery store? When you're sitting in traffic? When you're facing another day of a life that doesn't quite fit anymore? It starts with the small rebellions, the micro choices that seem insignificant, but are actually rewiring your entire system. It's the moment you don't laugh at the joke that demeans someone. It's the instant you speak up when every instinct tells you to stay quiet. It's the choice to leave the conversation that makes you feel hollow, even when leaving means standing alone. These aren't grand gestures. These are the tiny cracks you create in the conditioning. And through those cracks, your real self starts to leak through. Because here's what they never told you about becoming irreplaceable. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you already are. It's about amplifying the signal that's been there all along, but got turned down so low you almost forgot it was playing. And every single time you make a choice that honors that signal, you turn the volume up a little more. You strengthen the transmission. You make it harder for the noise to drown you out. This is biological. This is cellular. When you make a choice that aligns with your true frequency, your entire nervous system responds. Your body knows the difference between authentic action and performance. It knows when you're being real and when you're pretending. And it rewards authenticity with energy, with vitality, with that feeling of being alive that most people have forgotten is even possible. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This is your body giving you feedback about what's true. Pay attention to that feedback. Your body is a quantum instrument. It's reading the field constantly, giving you information about what's aligned and what's not. That knot in your stomach when you're about to say yes to something you should decline. That's data. That expansion in your chest when you think about a certain direction. That's data. Your body is trying to guide you back to yourself, back to what's irreplaceable in you. But most people have been taught to override it, to ignore the signals, to push through the resistance. And that's how you end up living someone else's life. So what does this look like in practice? It means you stop measuring yourself against anyone else. Because there's no comparison possible. You're not in competition with anyone. You're in a category of one. It means you stop waiting for permission. Because no one can give you permission to be what you already are. It means you stop editing yourself for comfort. Because the world doesn't need another comfortable lie. It needs your specific truth, raw and unfiltered. And yes, this will make people uncomfortable. Yes, this will create distance. Yes, this will cost you relationships that were built on a version of you that no longer exists. But here's what you gain. You gain yourself. You gain the ability to look in the mirror and recognize who's looking back. You gain the capacity to move through the world without that constant background noise of, "Am I enough?" Because you'll know you're not trying to be enough. You're trying to be honest. Let's talk about the mechanics of how this actually works. Because when you shift into irreplaceability, you're not just changing your mindset. you're changing your relationship with the quantum field itself. You're moving from being someone who reacts to reality to being someone who generates it. And that's not a metaphor. That's how consciousness actually functions at the deepest level. The observer effect in quantum physics shows us that the act of observation collapses the wave function, meaning your attention, your focus, your consciousness literally determines which possibility becomes real. Most people don't understand they're observers. They think they're victims. They think reality is happening to them. But when you step into your irreplaceability, you remember you're not watching the movie. You're writing it. You're directing it. You're starring in it. And you have way more control over the script than you've been led to believe. This is where people get confused. They think manifestation is about wishing really hard for things, about visualizing and affirming and hoping the universe delivers. But that's kindergarten-level understanding. Real manifestation, the kind that actually works, is about becoming so aligned with your true frequency that reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. It's not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you are. And when you do that, what you want finds you. Because you're no longer sending out a confused signal. You're broadcasting clear, coherent information, and the field responds to coherence. Think about it like this. Right now, in this moment, there are infinite possible versions of your future existing as potential. Quantum superposition. All of them are real. All of them are available. The question is, which one are you collapsing into form with your consciousness? Which one are you feeding with your attention, your belief, your energy? Most people are collapsing the same tired timeline over and over because they're running the same programs. Same thoughts, same fears, same limitations. But you're not most people. You're reading this because somewhere in you, you know there's another option. The other option is radical authenticity. It's choosing, moment by moment, to align with what's true in you rather than what's safe. And every time you make that choice, you're selecting a different timeline. You're pruning possibilities. You're telling the quantum field, this is the reality I'm choosing. And the field listens. It always listens. But it can only deliver what you're actually broadcasting, not what you're pretending to broadcast. This is why affirmations don't work for most people. Because they're saying one thing with their mouth while their entire energetic system is broadcasting something completely different. Their words say, I am abundant, while their body is tight with fear. Their mind repeats, I am powerful, while their nervous system is stuck in survival mode. And the quantum field doesn't respond to words. It responds to frequency, to what you actually embody, to what's true in your cells, not what's true in your thoughts. So the real work of stepping into your irreplaceability isn't about changing what you think. It's about changing what you are. And that happens through practices that shift your state, through choosing differently, through exposing yourself to the discomfort of being real when every part of you wants to hide, through letting people see you, actually see you, even when it feels like standing naked in the town square. If what you're hearing right now is resonating, if something in you is saying, yes, this is what I've been feeling but couldn't name, then I want to invite you to do something. Subscribe, not just to this channel, but to this frequency, to this space where we're done pretending we're small, where we're done apologizing for seeing what we see. This isn't about content consumption. This is about joining a movement of people who are choosing to remember, who are choosing to stop hiding, who are choosing to let their irreplaceability be visible. So if that's you, hit that subscribe button. Not to stay informed, but to stay coherent. To stay connected to this field of people who are done with the old world and building the new one. Because isolation is part of the program. They want you to think you're the only one who feels this. They want you to believe you're crazy for seeing through the game. But you're not alone. There are more of us than you know. And we're finding each other. We're recognizing each other. Not by what we say, but by what we carry. By the frequency we emit. And every time one of us steps fully into our irreplaceability, it makes it easier for the next person. We're not just changing our own lives, we're changing the field. We're showing what's possible when you stop hiding. Let me tell you what happens when you really commit to this. When you stop performing your life and start living it. First, you lose people. That's inevitable, because some people were only ever attracted to the mask, not the face underneath. And when you take the mask off, they don't know what to do with you. Let them go. They're not your people. Your people will find you when you're being real, not when you're being palatable. Now, what we've explored today about stepping into your irreplaceability is really just touching the surface of how consciousness actually broadcasts itself into reality. If you're feeling this shift happening in you and you're ready to understand the complete system behind becoming a conscious transmitter rather than an unconscious receiver, I've created a comprehensive guide called Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It takes you through the 9 master frequencies that move you from seeking to being, from manifestation to embodiment, and shows you exactly how to shift from survival static into coherent broadcast. It's linked in the pinned comment below. And here's something nobody talks about. Losing people isn't just about them leaving. Sometimes it's about you outgrowing the container you shared with them. You've evolved past the conversations that used to satisfy you. You've deepened past the surface-level connections that used to feel like intimacy. And suddenly you're looking around and realizing you don't recognize your own life anymore. That's not loss. That's liberation. That's you shedding the skin that was always too small. Take a moment and share in the comments. What pattern or relationship are you finally ready to release as you step into your irreplaceability? But it doesn't feel like liberation at first. At first, it feels like loneliness. It feels like you've made a terrible mistake. Because humans are wired for belonging. Our nervous systems are designed to seek connection. And when you step out of the tribe, even a tribe that was slowly killing you, every alarm in your system goes off. You're in danger. You're alone. You've made yourself vulnerable. And that's when most people turn back. They can't tolerate the temporary isolation. So they return to the familiar, even when the familiar is toxic. But if you can move through that phase, if you can sit with the discomfort of being between worlds, something extraordinary happens. You discover that you're not actually alone. You were just surrounded by the wrong people. And once you clear that space, once you stop filling it with connections that drain you, you create room for the right people to find you. The ones who recognize you. The ones who see you and don't flinch. The ones who've been looking for someone like you their entire lives. These connections feel different. They're not based on shared history or circumstance. They're based on resonance. You meet someone, and within 5 minutes, you're having the conversation you've been trying to have for years. There's no small talk. There's no performance. There's just recognition. Oh, you're one of us. You've seen what I've seen. You know what I know. And suddenly, the isolation was worth it. Because one real connection is worth 1,000 fake ones. Second, You gain clarity. Suddenly you know what's yours and what's not. You know which thoughts are actually yours and which ones you borrowed from a world that wanted you compliant. You know which desires are authentic and which ones were planted to keep you chasing things that don't matter. This clarity is a sword. It cuts through confusion. It cuts through distraction. It shows you exactly where to put your energy. But clarity is uncomfortable. Because once you see clearly, you can't pretend anymore. You can't tell yourself the job is fine when it's crushing your soul. You can't convince yourself the relationship is working when you feel more alone inside it than you did when you were single. You can't lie to yourself about what matters and what doesn't. And that means you have to make different choices. Harder choices. Choices that might blow up the life you've carefully constructed. And most people would rather live in comfortable confusion than uncomfortable clarity. But you're not most people. You've already chosen to see. And now that you've seen, you can't unsee. So you start making the changes. Small ones at first. Testing the waters. Seeing what happens when you honor what you know instead of what you're supposed to want. And every time you do it, every time you choose truth over comfort, the clarity gets sharper. The signal gets stronger. You become more and more undeniable to yourself. Third, you start moving differently. There's a quality to your presence that wasn't there before. People feel it when you walk into a room. Not because you're trying to be felt, because you're no longer trying to be invisible. You take up the space you actually occupy. You speak with the voice you actually have. And that creates a field effect. It gives other people permission to do the same. This is how movements start. Not with slogans, with presence. This is the part that surprises people. They think stepping into irreplaceability means becoming louder, more aggressive, more demanding. But it's actually the opposite. There's a quietness to real power, a stillness. Because you're not fighting for approval anymore. You're not performing for acceptance. You're just being. And being, when it's authentic, has more impact than any amount of doing. You've seen this in people. The ones who walk in and the entire energy of the room shifts. They're not doing anything special. They're not trying to dominate. They're just fully present, fully themselves. And that level of presence is so rare that it stands out. It creates a gravitational field. People are drawn to it without knowing why. They want to be near it. They want to understand it. They want some of it to rub off on them. That's what happens when you stop hiding. You become magnetic, not in a manipulative way, not in a seeking attention way, in a this is real and real is rare way. And the right people will feel it. The right opportunities will appear. The right circumstances will align. Not because you're forcing anything, because you're finally broadcasting your actual frequency instead of the frequency you thought would keep you safe. And fourth, you become dangerous. Not dangerous like violent. Dangerous like someone who can't be controlled. Dangerous like someone who won't play the game anymore. Dangerous like someone who's figured out they don't need the system's approval to exist. And that kind of danger is exactly what the world needs right now. Because the systems that are failing aren't going to reform themselves. They're going to be made obsolete by people who simply stop feeding them. By people who build something new instead of begging the old structure to change. Think about what makes someone truly dangerous to a system. It's not rebellion. Systems can handle rebellion. They can absorb it, redirect it, turn it into controlled opposition. What systems can't handle is indifference. When you stop caring about their approval, when you stop needing their validation, When you step out of the game entirely and start playing by completely different rules, that's when you become ungovernable. And ungovernable people are the only ones who can create real change. This is why they work so hard to keep you small, to keep you confused, to keep you competing for scraps. Because if you ever realized you don't need what they're selling, the whole structure collapses. If you ever understood that your value isn't determined by their metrics, their approval, their recognition, you'd be free. And free people don't make good workers. They don't make good consumers. They don't make good subjects. They make revolutionaries. Not the kind that storm the castle, the kind that build a new world while the old one crumbles. This is where you are right now. Standing at the edge of obsoleting everything that tried to make you small. And you can feel it, can't you? That edge, that threshold. On one side is the familiar, the safe, the known. On the other side is what you came here for. The real, the alive, and the true, and you can't go back. Even if you wanted to, you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you know. The door is closing behind you, and that's not a problem. That's grace. That's the universe making sure you don't waste any more time on what was never meant for you. So this is the moment. Right here, right now. You decide. Do you keep pretending? Do you keep playing small to make others comfortable? Do you keep waiting for conditions to be perfect before you step into who you actually are? Or do you just do it? Do you just let yourself be seen? Do you just start moving like you're irreplaceable? Because you are. And the longer you hide that, the longer the world goes without what only you can give. Let me be more specific about what I mean by what only you can give. Because this isn't about special talents or unique skills. It's deeper than that. It's about the specific way consciousness moves through you. The particular lens through which you see reality. The exact frequency at which you vibrate when you're being completely authentic. Think about music. Two people can play the exact same notes on the exact same instrument and create completely different experiences. Why? Because it's not just about the notes. It's about the space between the notes, the intention behind the playing, the emotion channeled through the fingers, the consciousness expressed through the sound. You can't teach that. You can't replicate that. It's the irreplaceable signature of that specific person in that specific moment. Your life is the same. You're not here to play notes anyone else could play. You're here to play them in the way only you can play them. With your timing, your emphasis, your interpretation, your soul. And when you do that, when you stop trying to sound like everyone else and just let your unique frequency pour through, you create something that's never existed before and will never exist again. That's not arrogance. That's fact. That's the nature of consciousness expressing itself through individual form. But here's where it gets tricky. Most people spend their whole lives trying to figure out what their unique contribution is, what their purpose is, what they're meant to do. And they're looking in the wrong place. They're looking outside themselves for the answer when the answer is them. You are the contribution, your existence, your presence, your consciousness perceiving reality through your particular filters and responding to it in your particular way. That's the gift. Everything else is just details. This is why trying to find your purpose by copying someone else never works. You can admire someone. You can learn from them. You can let them inspire you, but you can't become them. And the moment you try, you abandon the only thing you actually have to offer, which is you. Your irreplaceability isn't something you discover by looking at what everyone else is doing and finding the gap. It's something you uncover by going so deep into yourself that you hit the bedrock of what's true. And that bedrock is different for everyone. So how do you access it? How do you find that bedrock? You strip everything away, every should, every supposed to, every expectation, every inherited belief, every borrowed dream. You keep removing layers until you get to the part that doesn't move. The part that's been there since before you had language. The part that will be there after everything else falls away. That's your frequency. That's your irreplaceable core. And everything you build from that foundation will be authentic. Everything you create from that place will be yours. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them call you too much, too intense, too different. Their words have no weight in the field you're building. Your vision isn't confusion, it's remembering. You're not making this up. You're uncovering what's been true the entire time. Move quietly if you need to. Move loudly if that's what's real. But move. Move with the knowing that you're building something that will outlast the voices that said you couldn't. One day they'll look back and call it destiny. They'll say the world shifted to honor you. But you'll know differently. You'll know you were the shift. You were the axis. You were the point around which everything reorganized itself. Not because you forced it, because you allowed it. Because you stopped resisting your own magnitude. And here's the final piece. Here's what seals it. You were never meant to answer their questions. You were never supposed to fit into their frameworks. You were the question the universe asked itself when it wanted to explore what love looks like when it takes human form. When it wanted to see what happens when consciousness forgets itself completely and then remembers. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And everything that tried to destroy you was actually refining you, preparing you, making you strong enough to hold what's coming next. Because what's coming next isn't small. What's approaching isn't some incremental improvement in your circumstances. What's on the horizon is a complete reorganization of everything you thought you knew about what's possible. And it requires a version of you that can hold that magnitude without collapsing. A version of you that's been tested and tempered and proven. A version of you that knows who you are beyond any doubt. And that's what all of this has been building toward. Every challenge, every loss, every moment you thought would break you. It was all preparation. If this message found you today, consider returning to it tomorrow morning. Let it reset your frequency before the world tries to tell you who to be. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. When you pass along these truths about consciousness and irreplaceability, you're not just helping them remember, you're strengthening your own transmission, creating an energetic ripple that accelerates both of your awakenings. So before we close, I want you to do one more thing. Drop one word in the comments. One word that captures the energy, the intention, the transformation you're choosing right now. Not what you're hoping for, what you're claiming, what you're stepping into. This isn't a comment. This is your signature to the quantum field. This is you declaring your frequency. So take a moment, feel into it, and drop that word below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Not to stay updated, to stay aligned, to stay connected to this conversation. Because the more of us who remember, the more of us who stop pretending, The more of us who let our irreplaceability be visible, the faster the world reflects that truth. This isn't individual transformation anymore. This is collective awakening, and you're part of it. So subscribe. Stay in this field. Keep choosing truth over comfort. Keep choosing presence over performance. You were never the answer to their questions. You were the question the universe asked just to remember what it feels like when love becomes flesh, when infinity takes form, when the eternal steps into time and says, "I'm here, I'm real, and I'm not leaving." That's what you are. That's what you've always been. And I see you. I recognize you. I honor the courage it takes to be this real in a world that rewards pretending. I'm proud of you for being this brave, this expansive, this honest, and I love you more than words can carry. Now, if you're beginning to understand that your irreplaceability isn't just about being different, but about broadcasting a completely different frequency, you need to see how your nervous system is either amplifying or blocking that transmission. Because until you reset the survival patterns running underneath your consciousness, you're trying to broadcast coherence through static. Watch this next to understand why you can't manifest your irreplaceable reality until your nervous system feels safe enough to let you.